Before we start this episode, I would love to take a minute to tell you about something new and really exciting that I've been working on. I have just launched a pay what you can afford sponsorship opportunity for Show Up and Be Heard. This isn't your typical corporate sponsorship package. It's all about supporting a community of women building businesses on their own terms, whilst genuinely helping you get your business seen in the process. You'll get loads of visibility across the podcast, social media, and my email list, with ad spots, social media shout outs, and so much more. It is all designed to help you connect with the amazing women in my audience and grow your business. And the best part, like I said, it's totally accessible for businesses of all sizes, thanks to the flexible pay what you can afford model. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I would love to hear from you. Head to www.beheardsocials.com/podcast to find out more and apply. In the meantime, though, let's get back to the episode that you came for. In today's episode, I am joined by the wonderful Leyla, and we are talking all about the juggle between building a business and nurturing a passion project. Leyla shares her journey from leaving a secure job to stepping into the world of freelancing and how she's learned to manage her time, energy, and creativity between client work and her beautiful passion project, You Are the Sea. We chat about the pressure to monetise everything we love, the freedom that comes from giving ourselves permission to create without expectations, and the power of doing something simply because it brings us joy. We also explore the importance of rediscovering hobbies, embracing imperfection, and showing up as our real selves, both online and off. Whether you're just starting out in business or you've been on this journey a while, this episode is full of encouragement, honesty, and gentle reminders that it's okay to do things just because they light you up. So, let me tell you a little bit more about who Leyla is and what she does. Leyla is a freelance graphic designer specialising in brand identity and web design. She loves to work with big-hearted businesses, using her creative skills to shine a light on the good that they do, and in doing so, put a little bit of positivity into the world. Leyla is also the founder of You Are the Sea, a sustainable clothing brand that donates £2 from every sale to Surfers Against Sewage. But before we dive in, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to Show Up and Be Heard, the podcast that exists to help women like you simplify your business and your life so that you can stop feeling so overwhelmed. I am your host, Becky McAvoy, owner and founder of Be Heard Socials, and I am an award-winning social media marketer and international speaker who specialises in content strategy and organic growth on social media. Through this podcast, as well as my own social media, email community, and my award-winning membership, the Boss Your Socials Club, my mission is to cut through the noise to make social media marketing accessible and easy to understand for businesses that can't afford to outsource or who don't have the teams required to implement most of the advice that is being given to them. So if you want to cut through the noise and BS and get practical, actionable advice tailored specifically to make social media marketing accessible and easy to understand, or if you want to be part of a supportive community where women entrepreneurs can feel connected and inspired to achieve their dreams, then keep listening because you are in the right place. To get more tips like the ones you hear in this podcast, make sure you join my email community through the link in the show notes. Right then, let's get started with this week's episode. Hey Leyla, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Hey Becky, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
I am super excited to talk to you today because we were just saying before we started recording, I think you first applied, like you first put the application through when I very first started the podcast. And I've been on this whole journey of trying to like balance out, which I think actually ties into what we're going to be talking about today, for balance out time and stuff. And then we got an interview booked in and then I had to rearrange it. And I'm excited that we're actually finally recording.
Yay, I've been looking forward to it.
Be amazing. So we are going to have a chat, which is why I was saying I think it ties in, all about balancing a passion project or a passion business alongside, I don't know if I want to call it your main business, you can let me know whether you'd call it that, but the business that makes you more money. So I was going to say, I said that like it makes you the money, like yeah. So balancing it about what sort of pays the bills and your passion project. So I'm looking forward to getting into it because I think I'm going to be able to relate to a lot of it with the podcast. But before we get stuck into all of that, do you want to tell people a little bit about what your story is in terms of how your business came about and how you became a business owner? Like, is it something you've always wanted to do? Like, how did it come about? And I suppose a little bit about how your passion project came about alongside it as well.
Yeah, sure. So I'd always been aware of freelancing, working as a graphic designer. We had freelancers that we worked with in-house who were very happy doing it. But for me, I was quite happy working in-house as a graphic designer. I managed a small team of creatives, and they were like my work family. So I'd always associated enjoying work with all that banter and everything, which as a freelancer, I thought, is that something that I would miss? So it wasn't really something that I was planning to do. But I was on maternity leave with my son, my youngest, and about halfway into that, the company I worked for went into administration. So everyone lost their job. And I knew that I didn't want to work 5 days a week, basically. My plan was always to go back 4 days, but I didn't, those jobs at the time, pre-COVID, they didn't exist. So it was a kick up the bum, really, to give it a try. I had like a bit of a financial buffer from redundancy money, luckily, and yeah, which gave me a window of time to see if I liked it, to see if I could make it work, and then if I didn't, I was always just gonna, yeah, I'd go back to employed life. But as it turned out, it ended up being the best thing I ever did for my career. Like, yeah, I really love working for myself, and now I can't see myself going back the other way. And then You Are the Sea is my passion project. So I've always loved the ocean ever since I was a little girl. And I remember doing my design course at college, and my tutor talking about screen printing t-shirts, and he did it for like his love of music and stuff. So I thought, oh, I could combine my love of surfing with design, and yeah, just do something that way and find a way to give back to the sea, because I donate to £2 from every sale to Surfers Against Sewage. But I'd been talking about it for years and years and years and never making it happen. So it was only really, I think, being a freelancer that I realised I had the freedom to actually, push that forward as well. So that's how both sort of businesses happened and came to fruition.
I love all of that though, because both of them are taking like brave leaps, aren't they? Just to see like if something works out. And obviously one of them was quite like, it needed to be financially doable and all of that kind of stuff. But I think there's so much, and I was very similar. Like I'd wanted to launch a podcast for a long time, but I had all the reasons not to and all the excuses not to. But I do think there's something about like, and that's how I try to make decisions more now, is like, just try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because what's the worst what is the worst that's going to happen? And I feel like both of those are like, both of those, that's what you've done, and they've ended up being, like you said, like the best thing that you've ever done, and you wouldn't go back now.
No, it would have to take a very special, like, awesome job. Yeah, to be worth it, I think, because it's that freedom and flexibility that freelancing gives us. Like, I can't. If I read a job ad, if I get the scares, and I think, maybe I should have a look. I just get to the bit about holidays, or just thinking about, how I could make it work with the school and stuff, and it's just no way. I'm just like, no.
It's hard, isn't it? Because I think at some point you get to a point in freelancing or working for yourself or whatever, where you just make yourself unemployable, and it's
Yeah.
not like, there's like the flexibility side of it is the one. Like when we recently booked our holiday, my husband said, like, have you got anything in that time? I was like, well, if I have, I'll move it. Like, because we booked it last minute. There's that, but there's also a little bit of like, which could be a good and a bad thing, but you make all the decisions, don't you? I don't know how well I deal with now, like having to go into a meeting and, like,
Yeah.
several meetings before that used to really frustrate me. Is like, what we were just talking about is like, oh, you've got an idea, just give it a go. But like in my employed life, I had to go through various different stages of approval, whereas now I can just go, I'm going to try it and see what happens. So I think that part of it makes me a little bit like unemployable now as well.
Yeah. No, I can't see it happening. It would, yeah, it's just not going to happen.
Amazing. I love it. So how do you define it? Like, you define it as a passion project, or you say it's a passion project. What is it that defines it for you like that, rather than like a second business? Because it is a second business as well, isn't it? But yeah, what's your sort of
I think
feelings or definition around a passion project?
I think the reason why I call it a passion project more than a business is because I'm experimenting with it. I've given myself permission to treat it more as an experiment and a passion project, something that I am doing because it's not about whether it makes money or grows in that way. It's for me. It's so that I can experiment with a different way of design. Like for a product business, I've not done that before. It's to be creative without having a client on the other end, like saying, no, change it. Like I am the person that gets to just, like create a design and say that's it. No changes. Like, it's going out that way. And there's something like very like fulfilling doing it that way. And also tying it, that's like the creative side, but also the purpose of it, that way that I sort of celebrate my love for the ocean and give back financially where I can to charities that are campaigning and fighting for the ocean, which is in, as part of the climate crisis, is really under threat. Like it's just that small way of giving back. So whilst it might not make me any money, it might not pay the bills, because so much of each sale goes to the supplier. And then I give that profit away as well, £2 from each sale. I'm not left with very much at the end. I could go maybe buy a couple of coffees, but that's it. So, it's knowing that I can give back in some small way, but also maybe inspire people as well to like make changes, to live a more sustainable life. Like not in a judgy way, just like small changes. I use the socials to try and talk about things like that as well. So yeah, I think I may have gone off on a tangent, Becky, but
Ooh, good, that's what we're here for. I literally said to you, didn't I, before we started recording, I was like, I'll be keeping an eye on the time because I might be looking at the structure on my other screen because otherwise I just like having a nice little chat. So
Yeah.
I'm here for it. No, I really like that though, because it's interesting, isn't it? Because I was wondering whether, and I'd not really thought about this until we started talking, but whether, not you personally, but when we talk about things like this, was do ourselves a bit of a disservice by saying like, oh, it's a passion project, because it is effectively like it is another business, isn't it? Because it's set up like that. But I like the way that you sort of not doing ourselves a disservice, but it's almost like I think women especially can sort of downplay like really amazing things they're doing. Do you know what I mean? So actually, like you are running two businesses, but I wonder whether it takes like, because obviously with the podcast isn't a second business, but I wonder whether it takes a bit of the pressure off of a little bit by using different language for it.
I think that's why I've switched it really, because I started saying before, didn't I, that I used to, when I started You Are the Sea, I thought that I would work 1 day a week on it. I mean, I'd had a day off each week with my son before he started school. So I thought, right, that day can go to You Are the Sea. But actually, when it came to it, if it was a boundary for time with him, then no client. I was with him. No client work got done or encroached on it. But stuff for myself, like it's a business, yes, because I'm selling things, but it's not. It doesn't pay the bills. So I felt guilty if I had client work left at the end of the week because the day that I'd said was a Friday. It's like, well, I can't really work on You Are the Sea if I've still got clients waiting for work. So I'll do that. But I used to, when I first started, I'd say, oh, I'm the founder of You Are the Sea. And then I felt like a bit, this is my own imposter. I felt like a bit of a fraud. It's like, oh, well, it's in out other people's eyes, is it actually successful? But by changing my language, I've not done it in a way to sort of take away from what I'm doing, but it is in my head to switch my mindset to say it's okay if this comes in sprints and then you need a bit of time away from it for a while. Like that's how I work on it now. It's like ebbs and flows. Like if I've got a quieter period, I can pick up You Are the Sea. If client work's busy, I say it's okay if you don't have to give away a day because you want to work on this passion project. So I'm proud of what I've done, and like I would still say it's successful because it exists, but yeah, it is funny because I have changed my language, but I haven't done it in a way to take away from it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think it like something like that is totally personal, isn't it? Like whatever, you can use whatever language you want, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're doing a disservice to yourself. But I think it's like the way you've explained it is it's sort of almost nice to frame it like that. And I had a similar thing. Like it's not the same because it's not a second business, and it's not like that as such, but with the podcast at the beginning of the year, where it does the, you know, like at the moment, and I hope to grow it to a point where maybe I can outsource some of the like editing side of it and stuff like that, but at the moment like I'm doing it all pretty much. And I knew that from the beginning, and that's what almost put me off setting it up, because it was like, well, it's going to take me a lot of time, and I've got to learn stuff, and I've got to do this. And what you were saying about like other people's perceptions of, well, is that successful, or is it doing like what it's meant to do? And you know, like we even joked beforehand about did you need to wear your headphones on the thing? Because I say that on the application form, and I'm like, no, do you know what? I think it'll be all right because I don't wear headphones now. I know that like proper podcasting and proper sound, you need to use it. And there's a lot of like, I've overcome quite a lot of like, well, what will other people think about that if they see like this, that, or the other? And I had a moment where it was like, do you know what? This has doubled. Like it takes up a big chunk of time each month to do it. And I don't earn money off it. But then I'm like, but you didn't, that wasn't why you did it. Like, was it, you did it because you thought you'd enjoy it and love it, which I do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just interesting, isn't it? The way we sort of, I think as soon as you turn it into, I don't know, like a business or different language, sometimes you put this external pressure on yourself that it has to meet goals that you haven't even set. Like it was never a goal for me to make money out of the podcast. I wanted to do it because I thought I'd love it.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I'm working all these hours. So I don't know if any of that makes sense, but like, yeah. So I quite like the sort of reframe on it to like, it's okay to just do something because it's for you or because you love it. Like that's
Yeah.
enough in itself.
Yeah, no, I relate to that because I think if you monetize something like well, any kind of passion project, you can take the joy away from why you started it in the first place. You put more pressure on yourself, and yeah, and that's what I found as well. Like even just marketing it and trying to keep up with the socials, really, that's like getting a bit. I mean, I know it's a business and that's why I do it, but if it was just about designing the t-shirts and the artwork for the t-shirts, if I didn't need to do that whole other business side of it, I'd still be really happy, but I know I have to do it.
Yeah.
That's what I mean about losing a bit of the joy when it becomes about monetizing it. But I do obviously want to grow it so that I can make those bigger donations and stuff. I don't need it to be this really big successful thing that takes over from my other business because I love what I do as a graphic designer. But yeah, I just like, as I say, I like experimenting with it, and that's where the joy of it comes from, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's so interesting, isn't it? Like the pressures that we put on ourselves. Because obviously I've been talking about the podcast stuff and how like that's kind of like a passion project for me. And you know, when you monetize things, it does put pressure on it. And actually by the time this episode comes out, so I've been working on something recently which would have come out by the time this comes out, is around I've been working on a pay what you can afford sponsorship package for the podcast. And there's a bit of me, even as you were talking then, I was like, oh, I wonder if I should have done that, because, you know, am I going to turn it into this? Not because you made me question it, but just like, oh, am I now monetizing it? It's like, well, no, actually, like we question ourselves so much, don't we, about what we do. And I think so much of that is wrapped up in like the language. Because even if this, you know, if it works with this podcast sponsorship, it's not like I'm going to suddenly be like, oh my God, I'm earning so much money from the podcast. Because one of the reasons I wanted to do it was also like genuinely also to help other business owners get visible. And so I think some of it is so like the package that I've put together like is like, well, I'd like to say super generous for like what I'm saying with the pay what you can afford stuff, because I want to help other small business owners that wouldn't be able to afford to sponsor stuff necessarily get themselves out there. And I think we just put so much pressure on ourselves, don't we, of like, oh, well, should I do this because will it look like that? Or should I do this because I've said I'm only doing the podcast because I love it? And it's just like, as you're talking, I don't even know what point I'm trying to make here, but it's just really interesting, isn't it? The pressure that we put on ourselves.
Unnecessary pressure.
Yeah, unnecessary pressure. And actually just going back to what we, you know, when you were very first talking about your story of like, we can just do things and try it. So like, you know, you could have months, I guess, where you work way more on it. And it doesn't matter if then the following month, or you do loads of socials around it or whatever. It doesn't matter if the following month, you know, we're so much about consistency, aren't we? But it's like, actually just like give it what you've got and see how it works. And a bit like this podcast sponsorship stuff, maybe I'll do it and it will work really well and I'll really love it, or it won't. And I'll go back to not doing that, but still doing a podcast because I love it. So yeah, it's just, I think we need to give ourselves, this is a tangent completely off of what we're talking about. It ties in, like give ourselves like permission just to do things because we want to, like, and to see whether they work. And if they don't, like we move on to something else.
Definitely. And I think that's just all part of being a business owner, isn't it? It's like seeing what works, trying different things. If it doesn't, it's fine. Like you've learned from it. But I think what you've just said, but pay what you can afford, sounds really good, especially if it's giving like your audience opportunities to find another way to be seen. Sounds really cool.
Well, I'm hoping that it will work sort of in a way, because one of the things I love, like, so as part of the like what I'm offering in the package to try and help them get visible and whatever, is things I love doing. So it, in a way, it's sort of bringing more into that. It's like, oh, do you know what? I can do more of what I love, but in a bit like you were saying, I guess, with the business, in a meaningful sort of purposeful way. Like you get to give back to a charity you're really passionate about. And it's like I get to actually do stuff that I really love doing, hopefully with also helping other people get more visible and show up and all that kind of stuff.
It's really cool.
I think, you know, like it's interesting, isn't it? Because like I just feel like we need to justify so much. So like even in the way some of the questions that I've asked you like have been worded, it's almost like you might feel like you need to not justify but answer it. And actually, like sometimes things don't have to have a reason. Like,
it's just the way it is.
Or I just really like doing it. I did see on your stories the other day, do you ever find that I think you'd spent some time like creating some t-shirts or just doing some new designs? So I know you said like you're originally planning to have like a dedicated day a week, or that's how you were going to do it, but is it in a way now that you're just like, it is a creative outlet, or you're just like, oh, do you know what, I just fancy spending, like, is there a way that you balance your time between it, or is it just ad hoc as you like to do it?
It's really ad hoc now. I just I think what I needed to do was just, when I was getting quite overwhelmed with the fact that, oh, Friday's a URC day, but you're not doing it, like it was to just say that's okay, take the pressure off, you'll just do it when there's time. So the other week when I was doing some designs, I think I just felt like I was just in the mood to do it. And I think one thing I find when I'm working on client work as well is that having a different creative outlet to just go and do something else for a little bit actually helps me. It unlocks something in my mind often to go back to the client project and unblock whatever was going on. You know, I almost get inspiration from just like picking up a pencil, sketching away in something that I love, drawing waves and stuff. And then it does help me with my other work. So sometimes it's that, like just needing to step away from the client stuff. And sometimes it's just, oh, you know, I haven't done anything on that for a while. I think I need to put some new designs out. So yeah, it was a bit of both last week. But yeah.
Do you know what I really love about all of this is because, I mean, we've said sort of like, well, I said just now, we've maybe gone off on a bit of a tangent, but I don't think it is. So obviously talking about your passion project, I feel like what's been really nice about this conversation is like whatever it might be that the person listening to is thinking about, it's like permission to do something just because, or like just because you love it, or permission to just do things that you enjoy doing. And like, do you think we stop ourselves from doing so much of that, don't we? Because we're like, oh, well, this stuff has to be done and that will be perceived in this way. And I really hope that like that's kind of where this conversation's gone, is like just do what you like. If you can, do what you love, like or find a way to do what you love, because obviously, you know, in some way, most people will need to do something that pays the bills, whether that's employed life or freelance life or whatever. But find a way alongside that, even if it's just very small pockets, to do the things that bring you joy?
Definitely. And I'd say that, going beyond passion projects and all of that is finding joy, pocketfuls of joy is so important to me, whether it's like just getting away from a desk and going for a walk by the canal or picking up my guitar. Like when like life gets overwhelming, especially if you've got like dependents or, kids, aging parents, whatever it is, it's a lot. So if you don't take those moments of time for yourself, it just gets too much. And I've been guilty in the past of feeling guilty for going and doing those things. Whereas now it's like, no, just do them.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, you feel better as a result of doing it. I've chained myself to the desk before and been like, right, no, not got time to go for a walk. Got too much work to do. But then actually the work that I'm doing as a result of not giving myself that time away is actually not very good. And I would have done better work if I'd have stepped away. So yeah. And having you on the sea is part of that. But all the joy, I say go and get all the joy.
Oh, I am here for that. I was going to ask, and to be fair, you might not, because I feel like you're, well, I might be really wrong on this, but you're the kind of person, not who's always known what they loved, but like one thing I really struggled with, which was really sad at the point of realization, but it was like, oh, find some time for joy and things that make you happy and whatever, or do things just for you. And it's like, I don't know what they are.
Right.
I don't know what those things are. And part of that was getting probably lost in motherhood a little bit. Like, I think I knew beforehand, but did you find that? Or, like the hobby you said about the guitar, and you said about, obviously you are quite a creative person and your business is, like your graphic design business is very creative. Like, have you always had hobbies and things you loved, or have you struggled to find like what they are?
I've always had music. So I think the stuff that I am finding is definitely expanding as I get older. Like it was only when I turned 40 that I started roller skating, for example, which I don't do so much anymore. That I suppose occasionally I do, but there was a time when that was every Sunday. But yeah, I remember when I was a teenager, like I always had music, like, but I didn't really have much else. But then, yeah, then I learned to surf, and I don't know. I'm quite a want to try it all type person, so I do find these things quite easily, and we'll just try stuff, and then if I don't like it, I'll find something else. I'm always jumping around, but yeah, music, my love of being in nature, all of those things have always been there. The gym is one as well that is now a non-negotiable for me because it's so good for my mental health. But I would have never thought that I would be someone who could stick with the gym. Like, it's been almost 6 years now, but prior to that, it would probably be 6 months.
6 years is amazing, because I was just going to say, I was literally lauding myself last night because I was like, oh my God, I've done 6 months of consistent exercise.
That's amazing.
I have actually started enjoying it, and I would never have said I would. And I was just wondering, like, because genuinely, when I sort of was like, it was just after I left my like employed job, and I wasn't in a good place, and we'd been through a really horrible time and whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of me was like, I don't know what I enjoy, and people keep telling me to, I'd like they weren't saying find a passion project, but say, for example, like find a passion project or do the things that you love. And I genuinely didn't know what those were.
Yeah.
And I think, like, as you were talking then, I was just thinking that's kind of what I've done, is you've just got to try things to know if you like it. And if you don't, then don't do it again. Like, it's fine. And what really made me laugh as I was thinking about that, what I've learned over time is, like, I thrive. I really enjoy, and where I get lots of my joy from is like connection with other people.
Yeah.
And so to an extent, it doesn't matter what we're doing. But it did make me think about lino printing. Being a freelance group, and I'm laughing because
you lopped your finger off.
Yes. I met Leyla, and obviously I spoke about being freelance quite a lot on the podcast, but it's a community that we're both part of, and there was this in-person day, and it was lino printing, and everybody that I told that I'd signed up to it were like, are you all right? That's not my, I'm I'm creative, obviously. I need to be creative in what I do, but I am not artistic. I'm not like that kind of person. I was like, well, I just thought I'd give it a go. Anyway, I went there, and within 5 minutes, I'd pretty much like cut my fingers off. But I had a great day.
It was a great day, and there was pie. Oh, I loved it.
Steve kept apologising and checking. I was like, honestly, I'm fine. I'm eating pie. I'm chatting to people. I'm not even really here for the last minutes.
No, I know what you mean though. About but I think people can surprise themselves, especially with creative workshops like that. Like, you might think that you're not going to like it, but actually, like for me, I signed up to do. I spoke about this on another podcast, but I signed up to do this vision board workshop, and I wasn't sure about that because I thought maybe it was a bit woo, like, but I loved it. And funnily enough, the year that I did that workshop, the vision board that I created was all about You Are the Sea. It was to try and like make me do it, put it on my wall, and then I did. Like that year, don't know if there's anything in it, but like that wasn't something I particularly thought that I would get into or would want to do, but I did it and I enjoyed it. So I just, and like you say, if you don't enjoy it, just don't do it again.
Yeah. And maybe I wouldn't rule out any kind of creative workshop in the future, but just maybe not with sharp tools.
No, I don't think you should.
Disappointed it hasn't, because it was like a zigzag scar. It felt like a bit like a Harry Potter scar, but it did not stay. So it healed itself. But no, I really like that. And I do think, like the vision board stuff, I love as well. Like I'm very much on the practical side of woo. Like I don't, like there's some stuff that I find too hard to sort of get my head around, but there is actual science behind it, isn't it? And I think really what's behind it is making a bit of a commitment to yourself, which sounds a bit cheesy, but going, right, do you know what? I've gone to this vision board workshop and I've put all of this out. And that's actually where the podcast came from. I went to a vision board style workshop. It was like sort of business goal setting as well, but there was a vision board section in it. And it sort of gave me like the space, I guess, to be brave enough to go, do you know what? I've actually always wanted to do a podcast. And I almost said it a bit sheepishly, but then you're like, yeah, oh my God, I think you'd be brilliant at that. Like, yeah, do that. And I think sometimes it just gives you the space to think about what you do want. And then once you know what that is, you can either make it happen or not make it happen. Like, so I love that. Do you have any, like, it's kind of a lot of what we've said, which is helpful advice, but also not helpful advice, is like, you just need to do it and you just need to try things. But do you have any sort of like tips or advice for people that want to, but like maybe aren't defining it as a passion project, but have got something in their head that they've wanted to try or do, like to help them with it?
Without wanting to repeat myself is to just start and just do it. And I think this is what the advice that I had. I was talking about You Are the Sea for over a decade. It didn't feel possible when I was employed, especially when I then became a mum. It was only really as a freelancer. But I remember I went to this retreat and I was talking about it, and the people who were running it were saying, Leyla, you really light up when you talk about this. You've got to make it happen. And I was like, oh, I don't know how. Like, life is busy. And my friend Katia said, just do 10 minutes a day. And just commit to 10 minutes a day for a month and then see where you are. And I did. And then it just sort of like, it nudged it along. And then it was still a little bit of time that had passed, but it sort of set the ball rolling. And then I went to they're doing it for the kids meetup in London, not last year, the year before. Yeah, because I'm coming up to two years of You Are the Sea now, and someone had put in into the goodie bag this pencil, and the packaging on it had like 3 steps of like, what do you want to achieve? Then like, what do you need to do to get there? And then like a very like quick sort of like step by step. And I just filled in this little pencil packaging. It's like, oh right, well, it doesn't need to be perfect. I can just launch one product and yeah, I'll use this supplier because that looks easy. I did it in a weekend, and it was,
You love that.
yeah. So it, again, it's taking the pressure off. Things don't need to be perfect, and I say that like not just for passion projects, but for everything. Like showing up, like doesn't need to be perfect. And then yeah, it's just switching mindset and
Yeah.
doing things in different ways. Like as long as you're nudging along and making some kind of progress, it doesn't matter if it's like a little bit here and there, it all adds up.
Yeah. And also, I suppose it is that, like, if you can't, because somebody said that to me, but I don't know where I've seen or heard this before, but it definitely wasn't my original thought. It's like, if you can't stop thinking about something, like, do it. And I kind of like wrapping up in what you just said. If you can't stop thinking about something, figure out what the next small step to make it happen is.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to happen overnight. It doesn't have to, but just make some progress towards it. But that was very much me with the podcast, was like, I have been thinking about this for a long time. So I either need to go, no, I don't want to do that, or try and make it happen rather than just thinking about it, because
Yeah.
like that's that's not very helpful to just keep thinking about it. And I also think for me, I notice, like not on a negative spin, but like if I see someone doing something, like say for example, and this didn't actually happen, but say for example, I see someone launch a podcast and I feel, or in some way I'm triggered by that. Like often that tells me what I want, because it like often when somebody else said this to me literally a few weeks ago, actually, when you see someone doing something and it triggers a negative emotion in you, it's often because it's envy, and it's
Right.
because you want to do that thing.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's like noticing your own reactions to stuff as well, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of my reactions to myself when I was talking about You Are the Sea is this thing I wanted to do was that after all that time and I'd still not done it, I was getting bored of myself sort of saying, oh, I want to launch this t-shirt company that like gives back to the sea. It's like, just stop now. You said this for so long, just do it. So yeah, I got annoyed with myself in the end as well.
Which is a great motivator to do anything for yourself.
Yeah.
That was kind of me with starting the gym 6 months ago. Is like, oh my god, I can't hear myself talk about prioritizing my health anymore. Like actually doing something about it.
Oh, you're doing amazing.
I absolutely love all of that though. Thank you so much for like just sharing your experiences, because I think sometimes like it's just nice to hear other people talking about it, isn't it? And I hope that this conversation has sort of been like to anyone who's listening, if there's something in your head that you've been thinking about for a while, or you've just wanted to do, like I said, like just sort of permission to give it a go, and it doesn't have to have like a traditional goal. It can just
Yeah.
literally be to make the thing happen and
Yeah,
enjoy it whilst you do.
definitely.
There are a couple of questions that I ask on all the podcasts, so I'm just going to ask them quickly now, if that's okay, before obviously we wrap up, and I ask where people can come find you and connect with you and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, you spoke about this a little bit just now, actually, but what things help you show up in your business, and what tips would you give someone else to do the same? Because like you were just saying just then about like showing up doesn't have to be perfect and all that kind of stuff. But I also know that you've just started creating some, I was going to say super brave content. I don't want to say super brave content because it's amazing content, but it's the kind
Thank
of
you.
content that I think lots of people sort of shy away from or get scared of doing. So you can speak a little bit about what that is. But yeah, have you got any tips at all of what helps you show up?
Well, I think what helps me show up, and this is where those reels sort of come from, is by just embracing the fun, really, not taking myself too seriously. One of my like brand values, like for my business, is to have fun, be playful, and um, like I just want to make people laugh. I want to make content that makes people smile, and it's not like I'm doing these ridiculous reels all the time. Like, I know I still need to be professional, so I just try and balance it out. But like, yeah, if I feel like I might make someone smile or laugh, then creating those reels, they are scary. I remember when I first did it, like I can't remember which one it was. I think I'm like, it's about being sat in bed, and I was like, this is the office, whatever it is. And I was dead scared pressing share, and on the ones I've recently done, again the same. But I think it's just really important to be yourself, and that is part of who I am. Like, I'm a little bit weird, a little bit ridiculous with my sense of humor, but you know, if I'm being honest about who I am, then I need to share that. And I think for any brand as well, when you do show up in the way that's right, like that's true to you, you're going to attract the right people, and you're going to repel people as well, but you're going to repel the right people. So it works both ways, but it's only a positive. So that's one thing. And then also a little bit of accountability. So I have a little bit, I write all my own posts and create the graphics, but the lovely Erin, Erin Book schedules my posts for me, and she cracks the whip. So she makes sure I get it done, because I think if I didn't have the accountability with her, I wouldn't be posting twice a week. So that's my goal. But then that's my tip as well, in a way, is like, find what works for you. So twice a week is something that I feel I can commit to. I do post on stories mostly every day as well. But yeah, so keeping it fun. And also just away from socials, that fun thing is still a factor, because it's the way that I network as well. Like, I'm not into more traditional forms of networking, but I might go snowboarding or for a wild swim, whatever it is. So yeah.
Yeah, and when you say about snowboarding, that's actually a thing, isn't it? Like snow working instead of
Yeah.
co-working. Do you actually co-work there, or is it literally just
There's no working.
you're networking and you're meeting people? I love,
But
because
yeah.
in essence to all of that, it's basically find the things you like and enjoy. And like, I'm
Yes.
such a huge advocate of that, because sometimes people will come into, like, one of my members will say, like, I need to find, like, how can I create reels? And I'm like, we'll have conversations around it, and like it will basically come down into the fact that I hate recording videos. I'm like, well, don't do it then.
Yeah.
They're like, oh,
Yeah.
I need to do reels, because I'm like, you don't, not if you hate it. Like, if you can't find a way to enjoy it, you're never going to like showing up like that if it's in a way that you, or in a platform that you hate, or whatever it might be. So I love all of that.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I know social media is important, but businesses did run without it before. So there's SEO, there's having your newsletter. If you really don't want to be on certain platforms, like you just said, you don't have to be. But yeah, a little bit of everything is good, though, I reckon.
that is my I have a little bit of a sort of tongue-in-cheek thing about that. Like, I've got a presentation that I do about showing up on social media. One of the things in there is, like, the thing I hear all the time is, I just hate Instagram. And my thing is, well, don't use it then. And people are always really surprised, because obviously, like, I'm a social media marketer. Like, well, no, I'm not going to, like, if you hate it, don't do it, but find the thing that you do want to do, or realize that you might not like it, but there might be ways that you could make it work for you. Like,
Exactly.
it's that thing. So I love that.
Yeah.
Is there any advice that you would go back and give yourself in the early days of running your business that you want to share?
I think we've touched on it quite a bit, but I just wish that I'd got there a bit sooner. Is to give myself permission for a long list of things, really, but to be my weird little self, like, from the beginning. Like, as I say, you attract your people when you show up fully as yourself. It was, just showing up in general in the beginning was scary. And I remember a lot of friends followed me, like my business accounts, and I was like, oh, I don't want you here. You're going to see me trying to sell and all of this stuff. But yeah, just don't overthink. And permission to, this was another one, to procrastinate, because I've noticed over the years that that's part of my process, really. Is there's a pattern of working to a point and then needing to step away, and then if I want to go and make a silly reel, like, which is where the one last week with my imposter Leyla and confident Leyla came from, it was a moment of procrastination on a brand project, but I know that I'm going to hit that point. So I was like, right, now Now's the time to go make a silly reel. Came back to that brand project the next day, and it just flew again. But yeah, permission to do that and not make myself feel guilty, which is what I used to do in the early days. I still do it now, but not as much as I would have done that back then.
Well, and also, I think one of the things, like, because it's a natural human thing to do,
Yeah.
isn't it? Recognizing when you're doing it and like pulling yourself out of it sooner than
Yeah.
you used to.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love all of that. Thank you so much. And do you want to let people know where they can come find you, connect with you and all that stuff?
Yeah. So on Instagram, my design business is Leyla Alexander Design, and You Are the Sea is You Are the Sea UK. And I'm on LinkedIn as well, Leyla Alexander. And yeah, my website is leylaalexander.com. So they are all the places.
Amazing. And I will link to all of those in the show notes. Thank you so much. Because like I said, I just think this has been a really nice like conversation around, if anybody's listening and you've been thinking about something, you can't stop thinking about something, like permission to give it a go just because you want to see how it goes, and or just because you enjoy it. I've really loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I am truly grateful for your time and your energy today. I know that you've got a million things on your plate, and the fact that you're here investing your time into something that will help your business and your socials grow is something I am really proud of you for. Before you go though, if you love this podcast and you're a woman running a small business who wants to make social media easier and business life less lonely, I've got something for you that I want to tell you a little bit more about. The Boss Your Socials Club is here to bring you inspiration, accountability, confidence, and community. It's a place where we ban the word should, because we believe in bespoke advice that will work for you, your circumstances, your life, and your business. As a member, you get a clear content plan every month, ready to use templates, and the accountability to actually show up. Plus, you'll have expert support and a community of incredible women who get it and who want to cheer you on and support you in your business journey. And we all need a bit of that. Think of it like having a teeny tiny social media marketing expert in your pocket, giving you the knowledge and the assurance when it comes to posting great, engaging content on your social media platforms and showing up in a way that grows your business without the overwhelm and with a community of women cheering you on. Whether you're just getting started or looking to take your social media to the next level, Boss Your Socials Club has everything you need. You can join from just £24 a month or save with an annual membership, which is £240 for the year, so you get 2 months free. Thank you again for being here today, and I can't wait to catch you in the next episode. Until then, keep showing up, and please always remember, realising that you're not actually meant to do this stuff alone is the first step to making it easier. So I'll see you next time.